Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm keeping it real.
So, dude, this is episode 5.
Boom, we're there. It's happening.
That's crazy. First 5 episodes.
Done. In the books. Sealed.
Boom. It's a wrap.
We hope you guys are enjoying it so far.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody that's been supporting us. Right from the get-go.
Right off the bat.
It's absolutely amazing.
Amazing. It's been really cool. And for those of you who've been downloading it, we appreciate that. If you've been checking it out on Apple Podcasts, if you could leave us a review of what you thought about the podcast so far, that would help us a lot. So that when people search for Reptile Podcast, we are up there with all the other cool guys.
That's right. So, total side note, if you hear some random noise in the back of this, that's a guinea fowl.
Yeah.
We're going to feed that to something.
It's driving me to the brink of insanity.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, we're going to try to not focus on that, even though it is right over there. Anyway, so, sheesh. Okay. So the last time it was just you and I, we talked kind of about our history.
Yeah, how we came up. The come up, you know.
The come up.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
We're still at the bottom.
I'm a top, damn it.
We went from fossorial to
terrestrial. Yeah. Hey, we're getting there.
We're working the way up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So, okay, let's talk kind of about the now for us.
The here and now.
Yeah. So, we both are working at Nerd.
Yep. New England Reptile Distributors. If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. So that's pretty cool. I mean, we've known each other for a super long time, and now we get to work together, which is pretty fucking cool.
It's crazy to me that I work at Nerd now because when I was a kid, I had cutouts from Reptiles Magazine of their ads in Reptiles Magazine because they would have like a croc monitor picture and spider ball python and a bumblebee ball python. They're like, we're New England Reptile. And so it's crazy that like to have that cutout on my wall when I was a kid, and then now I'm, taking those photos that people are looking at on our website. About these cool reptiles that we're working with.
Yeah, and we were just checking out some pages from the old website on
the
Wayback Machine.
My goodness,
man, that brought back some memories.
If you guys want to go on a little trip, if you've been in the reptile community for a while, or even if you haven't, if you want to see something crazy, there's this website called Wayback Machine, and what it does is it takes screenshots of websites. It just trolls the internet and screenshots websites as they go and catalogs it for the future, so that if you ever want to look at the previous version of a website, you can do that. And if you go on Wayback Machine and type in NewEnglandReptile.com, it goes back to like, I think 1999 or 2000, right around there. And you can see what our website looked like way back. When we're talking about, when I first got the internet and I looked on New England Reptiles Forum, you can see all that stuff and see the prices that some of those snakes are going for. Oh my
Spider balls were like
$25,000.
Yeah. Man. Those were the days.
So we went down a trip down memory lane where we were looking at all the different ads on the website and how much things were going for, and seeing how some prices change and some have stayed exactly the same, like Brazilian rainbow boas are like $150 to $300, and we're like, yep, that's exactly what they go for now.
Yep, stayed pretty consistent. It's interesting to see that on certain species, through those years, like that's been
very steady,
average.
Very steady.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's likely to change all that much for the next couple of years unless something drastic happens.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's going to help it stay there now is the fact that there's a couple of mutations that exist out there, so people are a little more interested in them than they were from just their natural beauty. You start throwing some interesting stuff in there.
I think it's funny because there's this like two camps of keepers, or like people who are into breeding. There's people who are like super into localities and natural wild types, and then there's the morph people. And the locality people have always been into, like, a lot of the people who like Brazilian rainbow boas, they're just like, I like them because they're naturally beautiful. And then they see an albino, a teen egg albino, and they're like, it's ugly! You can't improve upon how good the original is. And then the people who are like morphs are like, but it's bright white. How can you not love it? And it's just funny to see how polarized those two groups can
It's
get.
true. And there's a small number of people that fall in the middle
Yeah.
where they're like, I can appreciate that, but I
That's
can
me,
also
man.
appreciate this. Same.
That's me. I
Yeah.
fall right in the middle where some things I'm like, yep, I'm totally with it for the natural value. My scrub pythons, if you produce an albino scrub python, you're like, I don't know if you can make it better than a regular barneck scrub python. But certain like ocelot Borneo shorttails, and I'm like, oh man, that thing's
Right,
fucking
right,
amazing. Oh,
exactly.
it's so cool.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yep, for sure. So it's definitely like it's badass to be at Nerd. I mean like
Every day's an adventure. You wake up,
Every
you come
day's
in
an
the
adventure.
morning, and you're like, okay, what is going to happen today? Because
Yeah.
there's something that's going to happen throughout the day. You can be like, wow, I didn't think that was coming.
Yep, no, that's very true. It's almost like the Tiger King saga.
Oh my goodness. No,
I
it's-
didn't know that was going to happen
Oh
this
my
time.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's not that crazy.
No, it's not that crazy at all.
No meth.
No. No.
Less tigers.
Yeah, way less. Well, there's a lot of tiger retakes.
There are a lot of tiger
you know,
retakes.
that's our tiger.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's super interesting. I remember when I decided to take the job up here, like it was one of those never in a million years would I have ever expected to have gotten that job, and I was like, I can't pass up this childhood dream.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, have to do it. I left my cushy job as a teacher
To clean
to
snake
come
poop.
to come rough it
wrangle people.
in a snake house and wrangle rowdy staff.
Yeah.
So and I absolutely love it. So
You can't ask for more than that. Come on
no,
now.
absolutely not.
And wrangle Kevin.
And wrangle Kevin. That I was not totally expecting that. But I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, and it's been fun. It has totally been fun. Brian Cusco just put up the
that-
interview he did with Kevin
It's
at
a little
Tinley.
while ago, but yeah.
It was a little while ago. He did a lot of interviews that weekend, and then just did his trip to Australia and like all
Yeah.
this other stuff. So he's like doing all of that. But that video came out. And it was freaking awesome. So shout out to Brian Cusco. That weekend was
A
amazing.
whirlwind. It was.
But that was when I really got the switch going off of like, oh, you have to be Kevin's PR person too.
Yeah.
So like that Sunday was like, Kevin, at 11:15 we got to be over here. At 12:30 you got to be over here. Now you got to go do these interview with this person. Somebody wants you to sign their book over there, and we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna go over here. And then these people want to come up to Nerd and blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh my God,
Wow.
he's a celebrity. But that was really cool. So if you haven't seen that, go check out Triple B TV, Brian Cusco. Check out that interview with
On
Kevin
YouTube.
because that was really cool. It's on YouTube. Yep. Yeah. So in tandem with that, we both still have our own collections
Yes.
of animals and
Yes.
are working with a bunch of different shit.
A lot of different
A
things.
lot of different
A
things.
variety.
Yeah. You know.
A spackling of different things.
Oh boy. So you have a bunch of scrub pythons.
I do. I love scrub pythons, and I've loved scrub pythons for a really, really, really long time. I think my first love when it came to like captive snakes was probably Bloods and Shorttails, because I just remember like seeing pictures of them in magazines and in books and stuff, and I was like, those things are amazing. Just like their heads look like a little coffin, and they like look at you, and they got this reputation of being really nasty, and then you talk to people who keep them, and some people are like, yeah, they're super nasty, and then some people are like, they are awesome. You just have to like respect them. And that allure just like drew me to Bloods and Shorttails, because when I first like started talking to people about Bloods and Shorttails, all the people who were like diehard blood people, all the people who kept Bloods and like enjoyed them were like, yeah, people are going to tell you that they're nasty. They're going to tell you that they pee on you and they bite you and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, if you go in with the mindset that I'm going to be the master of this beast and I'm going to show it who's boss and I don't care what it wants to do, yeah, you're going to have a bad time, because they're smart, they are strong, and they don't put up with shit. And
Yep.
so, but then when you talk to those people who are into them, they're like, yeah, but if you respect them and like learn kind of a little bit of their body language, they're super easy to read.
Oh yeah.
You don't usually end up with these psycho animals that people tell you about. And as long as you don't buy like a wild caught import one, they can be really great, just like, you know, not, I don't want to say companion, but like a great pet snake for an intermediate keeper. And that like really drew me to blood pythons, and then seeing scrub pythons in books and stuff, I was just, I don't even know. I probably saw more scrub pythons online than I saw in books, because usually scrub pythons don't get a very big draw in books and things like that. But I was just, when I first saw the first picture of a barneck scrub python, I was like, that is my dream snake. If I can't have venomous snakes, that is my dream snake. And then talking to people about scrub pythons too is the same thing. People are like, nope, they're nasty. You can't win them over. They're horrible. They get giant. They want to bite you in the face. They're terrible. And then when you talk to people who are diehard scrub people, they're like, yeah, some are like that. But if you like take your time and put some work into them, they can be really great snakes. And that always like really, really drew me to those snakes. And for whatever reason, I just was like, you know, when I was younger, I had the opportunity to buy scrub pythons a few times when I was still living with my parents, but I didn't want to get them because I knew they got big. I didn't have the space to keep an adult scrub python at my parents' house. I was living in like a little tiny room. So I just didn't want to have to get one and then go down the route that a lot of people go down where they either have to get rid of it because it gets too big or unmanageable. And I just like, I love scrub pythons so much. I didn't want that to happen to me. So I put off buying scrub pythons for a long time until almost 6 years ago now. It's probably almost 6 years ago now when I got my first scrub python. But I was living in a house. I had a little bit better setup. I had tons of space in my room for her to grow and everything. So I waited and waited and waited and waited and finally ended up getting that one. But it worked out for me because you know what? I love that scrub python to death. Her name's Janet, and I probably talked about her on one of the other podcasts. But she like is my favorite snake. I love that snake. Every time I have an interaction with her, it's just like amazing. She's so cool. She's laid back. I don't even need a hook to get her out. I literally have just gotten her used to the point where I can just like take a hat, flip it right over the top of her, and just scoop her right up, right off the wherever she's hanging out in her enclosure. I can just scoop her right up. As soon as she's on me, she's cool. She's chill. She's not head shy at all. I can touch her head. I can rub her. She's like amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's not all every day that you can get a scrub python like that. I put a lot of work into her. I did different feeding regime than a lot of people do with them. So it's just like all these different things that led up to that. So most of my focus right now is scrub pythons and Borneo short-tailed pythons. I have a few blood pythons as well. Yeah, a couple other things here and there, some carpet python, blah blah blah, all that other stuff. But like my attention has always been, and probably always will be, bloods and short-tails and scrub pythons. Those are just my favorite when it comes to reptiles.
Yeah. How many different kinds of scrubs do you have? Because you have a few different.
I have a few different kinds of scrub pythons. So I got some sarong barneck scrub pythons. I've got a Jayapura barneck scrub python, which is just basically a different locality of the barnecks. They look very similar to the sarongs. The sarongs typically have lots of patterning on them, lots of bars down the back, and then the tail end of them kind of looks like netted, like a king cobra almost, or like they're wearing fishnets or something. And then the Halmahera scrub pythons are just super, super rare ones. A lot of people just have a tough time keeping them alive in captivity, and I've had my ups and downs with the Halmaheras, and they just... You know, they when I found out about them, I was like, I need to work with those one day. And then, you know, getting to work with them, I'm like, these things are freaking amazing. And I still hold my breath every time I look at them because I'm like, don't die. Be cool, we're cool.
Yeah.
And then I've got the Highland, my Oxabil scrub, which everyone's in love with. And
that thing is
she's
amazing.
Beautiful. She's really beautiful. And she's an animal that I didn't set out looking to get. She's one that kind of found her way into my life. The person who had her before me didn't want to, but they had to get rid of her. And then through different vectors, some other people, they said, you know, this guy is into scrub pythons. He's super about them. He's got a huge amount of respect for them. You should contact him about getting this scrub python. And so we kind of like met up because the price that she wanted was a little too much for what I was looking to spend at the moment. We worked something out. And since getting that snake in, she's amazing. But when I first spoke to her about the scrub python, she's like, watch out. She's mean. She's not.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
She'll give you a run for your money. And I'm like, okay. You know, I've worked with angry scrub pythons before or defensive scrub pythons before. I'm really good at working with them a hook. I'm cool. I don't need to touch it. Like, if a scrub python doesn't want to be touched, I'm cool with not touching it. I'm not one of those people who's like, it needs to be my best friend. But I do like to get them to a point where they're manageable. Yeah. You know, manageable. So over the last couple months, I've just been like slowly working with this snake because she said it was pretty nasty and highly defensive and stuff. So I've just been like putting in the time to handle her, not scare her, build trust with me, let her see that she doesn't have to worry about me hurting her or dropping her or running away from her. A lot of people, when they handle snakes that can be defensive, they run. Like they actively avoid getting bit, and a lot of times that causes the animal to lose trust, because if you got it on a hook and it starts coming up at you and you drop it, that's a nick in your trust with that animal, because now it's dropped onto the ground, it's startled, it may or may not be hurt, so it's just taking away from that trust that you have with that snake. So if you can show that you've got confidence, that you're not going to drop them, you're not going to scare them, you're not going to go out of your way to make them feel uncomfortable, just building those little threads of trust, which is something I learned from Kevin, is that you need to build these little threads of trust, because people talk about reticulated pythons like they're intelligent, and until you work with scrub pythons, they're like completely different to me than reticulated pythons, because every move that a scrub python makes is calculated, in my opinion. Every time that they look around, every time that they move, when they're holding on to something, everything they're doing, they're thinking about. Even to the point when they're eating. Scrub pythons, when they smell food, they get excited, but reticulated pythons, when they smell food, they lose their mind. They just are like, food, it's food, and they get my 500-pound life or whatever, and they're like, I gotta eat and whatever. And I've seen retics chewing on plastic before, because the sides of their tub, because they're like, food.
Yeah.
You're it's not food. You know that it's not food. In the wild, that would be a branch or a rock, and you're still constricting it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I've never seen scrub pythons do that, ever. Scrub pythons, they're keened in, they're watching, they're using their heat pits, they're just they're invested in what's going on. And I don't know, for me, that's just so interesting to see and to experience, because that's what I feel. Every time I hold a scrub python, it's like an experience to me. I'm watching this animal interact and react to what I'm doing, because you take out a blood python, it's watching you, but it doesn't usually give you a lot of visual cues of what it's thinking, unless it's upset, and then it's huffing, puffing, it's going to be rigid and all that sort of stuff. But if a blood python or short tail is calm or relaxed, it's just it's there, it's just chilling with you. And with a lot of other snakes, you might see the eyes move a little bit, but it's not like scrub pythons. I don't know. Scrub pythons is just so different to me than every other non-venomous snake that I've worked with. And I can't even group them with anything else, because they're not like anything else that I've worked with. I just love that. So, yeah.
They're pretty freaking sweet, too.
They're awesome. I love those things. They're so cool. It's just and the people who work with scrub pythons, I feel like they think very similarly, that they just have this huge amount of respect for this animal, because when they get big, they can seriously do some harm. They're incredibly strong snakes. If you've held a 7-foot-long scrub python, they are so strong. So because it's not big around, but they're just so muscular.
Muscle.
Yeah, so strong and so muscular.
What the heck was that? Did you see that photo of that dude? I'm assuming it had to be Australian.
Oh yeah, the King Ornai.
Monster.
Oh, the giant one. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That is a scary thought.
That was a big ass snake.
That is a big scrub. So King Ornai are the biggest scrub pythons, and they're from Australia. And to my knowledge right now, I don't think there's any in the United States. There were some years ago, but since Australia doesn't allow export of their native wildlife, typically, that's a species that just doesn't exist in the U.S. trade at all, to my knowledge.
Dang.
There's probably 1 or 2 people who are hoarding them and keeping them, and they just don't talk, they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And then there's probably a couple people in Europe who might have them. But it's not something that you would ever most likely you're not going to see King Ornai popping up in the U.S. trade at all.
That's a scary
snake. It is a formidable snake. So one of my buddies over in Australia, one of the guys who I follow on Instagram, Smithy over there, he's got a big, a pretty good sized King Ornai, and every time I see a picture of that thing, I'm like, that is so impressive. It's just it's huge. It's bigger around than a Coke can, and it's just for a scrub python to be that big, it's gotta be big, long and big.
Yeah.
Scrubs are just naturally more slender, because Janet is probably 10 or 11 feet long, and she's a little bit smaller than a Coke can around. She's a little smaller than that. So to be bigger than a Coke can, that thing's massive, just absolutely massive. It's just such a incredible animal to behold, and just, I don't know, man, they're such cool snakes. They're so cool. But that one of the guy in the water holding the big scrub python, I'm like, man, if I saw a scrub that big, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it.
Dude, that's why I was seeing that, and I'm like, okay.
Just knowing what I know about scrub pythons and how big their teeth are, I'm like, ooh,
bruh.
If you have an accident with that, that's a
bad accident.
That's a bad. I got a bad back. I got a bad bite.
Oh Oh man.
But yeah, ever since I saw scrub pythons, I was like, I need to work with those. And so I just have a huge amount of respect for those snakes. I have a huge amount of fascination with them. And it just grows. The more that I work with them, the more interesting they become to me, which is just like, is what it is.
Yeah. Have you seen, especially since you've had like Janet, like since she was a baby.
Yes.
Have you seen like really certain drastic behavior differences from neonate to subadult?
Yes, absolutely. Especially with the way that you handle them. They can definitely habituate to your style of handling and your style of keeping. If you naturally when they're babies, they're more defensive. Just because they're so small, they live in a highly competitive environment. They have to be a defensive animal. They're semi-arboreal. They spend time in the trees. They have to watch out for birds. They have to watch out for mammals. They have to watch out for everything. So naturally, when they're small, they're high-strung. They're going to be afraid of what you're doing. But since they are so smart, if you get them used to a certain way that you go into their enclosure, a certain routine for feeding, they can pick up on that very, very quickly. And that's like, you can use that hugely to your advantage if you have the foresight to do that. Which I feel like a lot of people who keep scrub pythons can kind of pick up on that and kind of get a feel for where you're at when it comes to that sort of thing. Because Janet, when she was young, when I first go into her enclosure, it's defense. She's scared, she's nervous, but she wasn't big on striking. She was never big on biting. Even when she was little, she was a captive bred baby from captive adults. So she's like F2 or F3 removed from the wild. So she's, in there. But even my scrubs I've got a couple scrubs that are wild caught, and just me doing the same routine that I do with some of my other snakes, go in, cover them up before I pick them up, like cover up their head before scooping them up, or allow them, since scrub pythons are so long and so much bigger than a lot of other snakes, if you let them start to come out as opposed to going into their space, if you let them come out and then get a hand underneath them, they are much more relaxed doing that than if you were to just kind of manhandle your way through picking them up or grabbing them. Which, like a short-tailed python or a blood python, if you go into the enclosure, you just scoop it right up, and as long as you're confident in everything, a lot of times it's cool. But with scrubs, it's a different ball game. They are very aware. I mean, not to say that other snakes aren't aware, but they're very in tune with what's going on. And if you're not respecting, it's noticeable with how they interact with you. So from the time that Janet was little, I fed her on a more sparing feeding schedule. A lot of people, when they have a baby snake, they want to feed it a lot to get it to grow because they want to see it get bigger. They want it to, get to adult size, and a lot of people want to breed them sooner. And with scrub pythons, I think that's to the detriment of the snake itself. I think that they are more attuned, more keyed in to slow growing, to taking more time between feedings, not as giant meals. They can handle big meals, but I found that just doing a little bit smaller, not going crazy with the feeding. And then with Janet, what I did is I spaced out my feedings, and then I would do a lot of going into her enclosure, not feeding her. So a lot of the times when I was going into the enclosure, it wasn't food. It was, he's here again. And it was it's not food time. Because if you habituate them to the only time my cage gets touched is the time when I get fed, then every time you touch the cage, it's food time to them. So if you work with a snake that's only been interacted with when it's like basic cleaning and feeding, then they're going to learn that. And that's, can put you in a tough spot when they get to be 10 or 11 or 12 feet long, where you open up the enclosure and you need a shield to protect you, a shield and a snake hook, so that you don't get eaten, because the thing is like, oh, food, you're a giant heat signature. Let me come right for you. And so, that sort of thing, in my opinion, has a huge impact on how the animal interacts long term. And you can even, if you get an animal that's a full-grown adult, you might not be able to do anything about it. It might be already so stuck in how you do things or how it's been done that it might just, that's how it is. But if you get them when they're a little bit younger, under probably 3 or 4 years old, you can probably habituate them to how you prefer to interact with them. And, that's every animal's an individual. Every single one's different. They're not a teacup. They're not, they get printed off of a line. So some animals are going to be more high-strung. Some animals are not. And I feel like with the scrub python community, there's just not enough that's been done with breeding them yet, just because they're a little bit of a tougher animal to figure out how to breed them. There hasn't been enough generational breeding to really figure out what we can do with them, because I think there's a huge amount of potential. And I think that once we start getting a couple generations into captive breeding and seeing people being more successful with them, I think that there's a huge amount of potential for them to be like one of those pinnacle snakes that people work their way to. Because, I don't know, a lot of people feel like retics are top of the line, and I've worked with reticulated pythons, and they just don't do it for me like scrubs do. I don't know what it is, but I like them.
Yeah, dude. I'm about it.
So have you worked with scrub pythons before?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
But you worked with carpet pythons.
I work with carpets.
A big Morelia guy.
I love Morelia.
No, you don't.
That's my thing.
Oh, wait.
I'm all about it.
What drew you to Morelia in the first place?
Man, I think in all honesty, it was that head.
The bulky, the big muscles on the top.
Yeah, like one of my first experiences with carpets was a friend of mine had like a massive coastal carpet, and I remember he had taken it was like super friendly, like you could do whatever with it, but I remember one of the first times I went to go see it, he had taken it out, and the head went like past his shoulder and was like coming towards me, and I was just like staring
down the barrel,
face to face with this like had to be like easily 7-8 foot coastal carpet, and I was like, oh my god, that's badass.
Yes.
Like that face, when you're staring at that face, the head on, I was like, whoa, beef. Okay, this is really cool. And I don't know, I had been coming up, I had a shit ton of ball pythons, and like I was very used to that, and I had a couple of carpet pythons, but never anything that was like a massive, huge animal. But that moment, I was like, this is a really cool snake. And I like arboreal species.
Yeah.
And so Morelia just kind of fit that. So when I started doing more research, I was like, oh, there's a gambit.
Oh, there's a huge variety.
Like
carpets.
I can get the massive 8-foot plus coastal. I can get, a 7-foot Brettles, and, slow going down the line, jungles, and
IJs.
Then, yeah, IJs.
I love my IJs.
I'm sorry, it's now West Papuan.
Oh, I hate one. Papuan.
Papuan, yeah. So having that gambit, and then like the Darwins and like all that stuff, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, this is really cool, because this one species or this one genus can fit a bigger niche.
Yeah.
So you can get the larger animals, but you can also get the smaller animals. So the biggest thing to try and overcome as a keeper, and then as somebody who wanted to breed them and then sell them, was being able to work with the neonates successfully. Because just like baby scrubs, they get freaked out super easily, and they're ready to defend themselves no matter what it takes. And I've learned over the years that like jungle carpets are that and then some.
Oh yeah,
like
they're
it goes
chainsaws.
well into the year-old mark, and they're still like, I'm gonna kill you. So that, like, trying to work with that's been fun for me. I remember. I'm not even gonna bring up his name, but you might remember who it is from Western Mass.
Oh, I know. I'm pretty sure I know.
Yeah. I remember being at Adam Harris's place, and he had a little bin of jungle carpets, and you know exactly.
I know exactly
who
you're talking about.
And he had like some like bicycle gloves that he put on to pick up. Yes. To pick up this like clutch
this little
of
tiny
jungle carpets,
this 11-inch pencil thick carpet python.
And I'm just going in there, I'm like, oh, these are cool, and I just go and grab a handful of them, and they're like, they're biting me, but I'm whatever. And he's like, oh man, their bites are pretty gnarly, dude. And I'm like, it's a baby carpet python.
Come on,
it's
buddy.
It's not that bad.
Come on, buddy.
So yeah, the biggest allure also was I like morphs, clearly. I love the natural look of carpet pythons from the get-go. They are naturally a very beautiful animal. I think the morph game has certainly brought them a little more into a focused point in the industry, which I think is awesome, because they are such a cool species. So if that's what it kind of takes to get some people interested, I think that's cool. But seeing like a really nice, classic-looking jungle.
Mm.
You know, like doesn't need to be neon yellow,
Yeah.
but just a really nice classic-looking jungle, and then a really nice classic Brittles.
Mm.
I'm like, this is how they essentially look in the wild.
Yeah.
You know, like that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like coastals, are, you know, they're like brown and tan, and like they're beautiful. You know, but like this entire species can be so variable
Yes.
in their natural state. Like to me, that was a huge draw.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Brittles are they red?
Yes.
They're red.
They're
like,
I'll give you that.
you know what I
Those-
mean? Like,
Pretty cool.
come on, dude. You know, how many years have they been trying to figure out a way to make red stick in a ball python? You know what I mean? And it's like, nope, this thing's red from
Naturally.
hatching all the way through to adulthood. It just gets better. You
Yes.
know, so I'm like, that's amazing. But yeah, so over the years, I've worked with the top four, the big four, so coastals, Brittles, jungles, and IJs. I've worked with all four of them. I bred coastals first, and then started breeding IJs, and I fell in love with IJs.
I love them.
They're
the best.
amazing.
They're the best.
They really are amazing. And unfortunately, like it wasn't until more recent years that they became really popular.
Yeah.
Which
It's a
is-
shame is what it is.
yeah, no, it really is. And of course, they got really popular after I got rid of my adult animals. But you know, maybe I'll get another pair or something somewhere.
Well, I mean,
you know,
you might know somebody who might be hatching some
it's
out
true.
this year.
This is true.
I'm just
you know,
saying.
it's a possibility. But I love them because, like, as babies, you know, maybe that first 4 months, they're like a typical baby carpet python. They want to defend themselves against anything, and then like after that, they settle down almost
Immediately.
naturally.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They're so
oh, that's
laid
awesome.
back. They're
Yeah.
so placid.
And I mean, my two big females, my two biggest females were like 6 foot. Like
Mhm.
they were monster big females. And I wasn't like feeding them like crazy. They were on the same schedule as all my others. They were just big, older girls. I think they were probably like 12 years old or
Mhm.
something like that, you know. So to see them at that potential, but still be this really chill, placid animal, I was like, these are really cool. I've started to focus in. So this is really the last year I'm going to have coastal stuff here. I'm trying to focus a little bit more on the jungles and the Brittles, just because, again, like the classic look of a jungle is just amazing to me. But I got really heavy into the Ocelot project from Mike Curtin. So I've got a couple of Ocelot jungle jags. I've got a non-jag Ocelot male
Hell yeah.
that is like silly. And then last year produced a male Ocelot zebra jag that I've held back, and he's looking ridiculous right now. So I'm holding that animal back. Unfortunately, it looks like after this season, I'm not going to be able to breed my original Ocelot jungle jag anymore, because she's still having some issues after having those slugs all twisted up in her oviducts. So I
Yep.
think I'm just gonna table her. You know,
She'll be a pet animal.
I'll still keep her as a pet animal because she's phenomenal, and she was like that first animal I got when I was really getting back into it. But she's a total asshole now. Like, I used to be able to go in there and grab her and like do whatever, and after this season, she's just like, nope, don't touch me, don't even look at me. Like, literally, I opened up her enclosure the other day and just was looking at her, and she was just like, fuck you, and just launched right out at
damn.
me, and I was like, what happened?
My
We used to be
baby.
such great friends.
You guys broke up. So.
Yeah, we broke up, and she's holding the grudge. So, but so I want to dive a little bit more into that. I've got some striped jungles too, so I want to try to get the striped stuff into the Ocelot, see what kind of influence that has. Yeah, I'm all about that. And then I got a little heavy on some Brittles stuff.
Oh?
Just a little bit.
Did you now?
You know, just a little bit. I may have like 7 or so. It started with a pair of Het Stonewashed from my buddy Noah, who got them from Nick Mutton. He basically already raised them up, and then he was getting out of carpets so he could focus on boas. And I was like, I want those.
Yes.
Like, I want those 100%. And the little bastard didn't tell me when he was selling them. I had to see it on Facebook first.
Ah,
I saw it on Facebook, and I called him and was like,
motherfucker.
"You motherfucker!" So I got those from him. He was like, "Well, man, I didn't think you were, you'd want to spend any more money because I already bought a bunch of his carpets." So he's like, "I didn't know, And I was like, "Bro, I told you, I told you if you were letting those go, you let me know." But anyway, so I got those animals. And then a few more, and then a few more, and then this most recent group, the Hypo Stripe stuff. Oh boy, from Nick, that are just absolutely amazing little animals. So you'll see babies from those in 5 years or whatever, however long.
It's casual.
But I think that's another draw for me to them, is the fact that they're not a species you can get up to size in 2 years, and then just make a shit ton of them. The Centralians need to get that 4th year in on those girls before they're like really able to pump out a solid, good clutch where you can pretty much be in the clear. And the Brettles out of all of them are probably the trickiest to breed because they need that decent temp drop. So I like that challenge. It's not as challenging as Scrubs, but it's a little bit, I can't get, you've seen my room. It's small. I've always had a really tight, jam-packed room. So like when I bred Brettles years ago, I was elated because I didn't think I got the temps cool enough. And then she laid a clutch of, I think it was like 15 perfect eggs and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I did it.
Mint.
Oh my God, I did it. And was like, what? So that to me is like, okay, cool. Like I've done that before. I can figure it out, and I like that. But I just like the fact that it's the carpet niche is a small niche that's certainly growing, but it's not a for everybody niche, which is cool. So I've got that going on. The only other coastal stuff I'll have going on is I'm trying to do snows and moon glows and stuff. So like I've got my pair of Azanthic coastals, Harris line Azanthics.
I like those.
They're smoking. I've got my albino girl that's like a jungle Darwin intergrade.
It's an everything bagel.
It's an everything bagel, yeah. And then I've got my super caramel albino female that I produced last year. I'm keeping her for that Moonglow project. And then I've got like that Azanthic zebra, so try to do, maybe some Moonglow zebras or, whatever.
Something,
whatever. Something
casual.
light.
No
Something
big deal.
light, But yeah, so I just like that. But my collection is fairly diverse. I've got the ball pythons because I just have the ball pythons.
I have a couple ball pythons too. It's okay. It's okay. I won't judge you.
A couple or 40 because I'm getting close to that 40
I've
number.
got like 4.
Yeah, no. I made some. I've had some good days. But yeah, so I've got some ball pythons. My thing with ball pythons, when I started to get back into them, there's a funny story. Because when I started to get back into keeping more animals again, I didn't want to do ball pythons. Because that was basically like the demise of my original company. So it was like, I don't want to do ball pythons anymore. I've got my original first snake ever, that ball python. That's all I want. I don't want anything else. And my partner at the time was kind of getting into the snake stuff because he was not into snakes when we first got together. So it was a process. And we were going down to the White Plains show, and he asks me, hey, can I get a snake when we're down there? Would you be okay with that? And I was like, yeah. I said, as long as it's not like a boa or anything like that needs a lot of space.
Yep.
Not even thinking he would get a ball python.
Oh, 100%.
I'm thinking he's going to get like a corn snake or something. Something really bright and pretty and whatever. And he brings me over to, I think it was Randy Laporte's table, and he picks out this vanilla double het hypopide female ball python. And I was like, oh, it's a ball python. But he was like, I just want to, this is my pet. And I was like, all right, cool. Fine. It was like $50 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like whatever. So he got that snake, and inevitably
Oh, you got to get a pair for it.
I found him searching World of Ball Pythons.
Oh.
One night. He was like, I like rolled out of bed and he wasn't there. And I was like, oh, is everything okay? And I see him on the computer scrolling through World of Ball Pythons, and I was like, I know what this means. And he's like, what? And I'm like, you're going to want to breed ball pythons. And he's like, no, but like, these are pretty cool. And I was like, you're going to want to breed ball pythons. Kid you not, within 2 weeks, he was like, so I kind of might want to breed ball pythons. I'm like, oh my God.
Here it comes.
I said, okay.
Oh, here it goes.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, fine. But I have to pick out the male.
Yes.
Because what you have has some cool recessives. We should find something that's going to go well with that, so we're not getting screwed.
Yep.
That's how I got that Coral Glow Leopard double het hypopide, was for that project. And then that relationship didn't last, whatever.
Yep.
He let me sell that snake because he couldn't bring it to where he was going, so I sold the snake and I kept that male. Thank God. But because now I have a bunch of ball pythons. But inevitably, I got more ball pythons.
Oh, more ball pythons.
And I'm like, oh gosh, because now I had this male and I had nothing to breed it to. So I'm like, okay, now
that's a sin.
So I'm like, okay, now I need this, and I'll get this, and I'll get this, and now I'm like, okay, so I have 8 or 9 or 10 males and 20 plus females.
Oh my Lanta.
And then there's going to be some holdbacks because some recessive
holdbacks.
stuff.
Did you say the
H word? Yeah, the H word, dude. Holdbacks. Oof.
Oh.
Okay, so ball python holdbacks are one thing. What I'm excited for and not excited for at the same time are retic holdbacks and berm holdbacks. Because I don't have many of either. I've got like 4 retics and I've got like 3 berms. But the projects I want to do
with those
are going to require me to hold some things back.
Yes.
So like I want to do marble OGS stuff.
Yes.
Right. So I've got that platinum marble male and then the super tiger OGS female. So not this season, but next coming season, she'll be ready to breed. So those will go together. That's inevitably going to be at least 1 holdback.
Probably 2. Maybe 3.
Because, think about it. Everything's going to be tiger.
Yep.
So tiger head OGS.
Yep.
Right? And then there's platinum and marble. So,
Platinum marble tiger head
if
OGS.
if I could hold back a pair of, platy tiger marble hogs.
No, you don't want a pair of platinum marbles.
Why not?
Ivory.
That's true.
But
why not?
Like world first.
Yeah, exactly. The triple super recessive. It is what it is. Go for broke, right,
I'm
Rob?
stressing right now.
Yeah. So there's that project, but then there's also like I've got that albino craziness.
Ooh,
throw that into the OGS stuff. That could yield some interesting offspring. And then the berm stuff, I really want to make caramel labyrinth stuff. So I've got a lab. And I've got a caramel, so there's going to be
one
double
more
hets.
Caramel coming.
Maybe shut your mouth.
I don't know what. Don't look at me like that.
I know. But that's inevitably another pair.
Yep.
That's going to get held back. And then I would like to throw green into that mix at some point too. So
more recessives.
And then Timmy is gonna send me an ivory lab. So that that's just a cool snake, a white berm.
No more berms.
Yeah, no,
I'm dropping the band hammer.
You do. Oh no, don't do it. No, Donnie, don't do it.
Yes.
But yeah, so there's a few holdbacks, but the thing that especially now I'm looking at is like, okay, I only have X amount of space. So it's really gonna come down to like, once I produce what I need to figure out what I'm getting rid of to be able to, because I can't afford to get more space.
Yes.
Like that's just not a thing
not
right
applicable
now.
Yet.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool. As soon as I get, caramel lab, that means those hets gotta go. As soon as I get marble OGS, those hets gotta go. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I want to be to a point where, I'm not necessarily breeding retics every year. I'm not breeding berms every year, but like, because I don't want to do that.
You don't?
I don't want to do that.
That's not what I heard.
No, well, I don't know who you talked to, but it certainly wasn't me. Ball pythons?
Bitch Carol
sure.
Baskins.
That bitch Carol Baskins. Jesus. But yeah, so I don't want to have a million monster snakes.
Okay, that's fair.
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm grateful that like for the retic stuff that I have, it's all like dwarf lineage stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm not
Doesn't need
I'm
to be
not
giant.
pushing to get giant snakes.
Yeah.
You know, 12 to 14 foot.
Mint.
I'm perfect with that. You know,
Hell
like
yeah.
that's perfect. The berm thing is really just like the caramel and the lab were the two genes that when I was really liking berms, I was like, oh my god, that would be the coolest combo
Mhm.
ever. So it's kind of just like a childhood. I want that. You
That's why I
know,
got
that
a
I'm trying to
bumblebee.
fulfill.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like we all have one of those things, and like when I had J&D and we were doing the school presentations, I had a big berm because that's all I could have for a big snake in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And that wow factor is always like, a big ass snake, you know. So I'm like, yeah, of course, it was a big, really nice granite, you know.
I used to bring blood pythons.
Oh god! Oh, that's a big snake. Oh my god!
Whoa!
It's losing its mind.
No,
Like,
my
no.
blood pythons are good.
It's true. But then that's another thing: blood pythons and short-tail
Yeah.
pythons. The
You have a couple
holdbacks.
projects. I'm afraid of the amount of holdbacks I'm going to have this year
Dude.
because I'm looking at some of the stuff I'm going to produce and I'm like, oh, you can't have any.
So you're gonna pull a Dan and be like, Jeremy, can you take these? I need some room.
No, I'm going to be like, I'm going to hoard all this stuff. No one, don't look at them. They're mine.
Right. They're mine. You can't have them. Yeah, that's my fear because I want to do T-negative GoldenEye stuff. I need to make a magpie.
Yes.
That's
you know what? I kind of want a 007. Magpies are like,
Yep.
I like the 007s better when they get older. I think the 007s look better than the magpies.
Yes,
do.
I would agree with that. For me, the magpie is just another one of those like.
The first time you saw it,
First
dude. The
time you
first time I
saw it.
saw one of those, I was like a black diamond on its throat. It's an all white blood python with black like face paint on it.
It's
Yes,
silly.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely silly.
Oh,
So
geeked.
that's just a I need snake. But then like I really want to try to. I've got that Banca male. I really want to try to line up some really red bloods.
well, if my girl ends up being red, then I mean,
You
kind of nice.
You know, we can do some working out. You know. But then I've got like that GoldenEye male that I want to throw to that Beatrix
Yes.
female.
Mhm.
You know. So that'll be super cool. And she's still very young, so by the time she's ready to go, I could actually have a GoldenEye het T paws to be able to throw to it, you know, because she's het T paws. So that's, you know, a little even more, you know, interesting. So that's a whole thing. And then the Borneos, I need an ocelot. I can produce ocelots. So, you know, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Amazon tree boas.
No big deal.
You know, yeah, there's a lot of shit, man. There's a lot of shit. So, but again, like kind of knowing where I'm at space wise, I have to be willing to part with certain things.
Yes.
So I'm already like planning that mentally, where it's like, it's, you know, it's gonna be in my collection. I'm gonna love that animal, of course. But when the time comes, you know, to have to move it. So I'm lucky to the point where like I work at Nerd, so I can just send an animal to Nerd and get something else. So I could totally do that. But also lucky to have some really close friends that are interested in similar projects where I can just be like,
Trade
hey,
some
I'll
stuff.
cut you a deal on this or whatever.
If you sell it back to me.
Exactly. So I'm grateful for that because damn,
that's where if I have anything that this year that I sell, it'll probably be like that. Where it's like,
exactly.
You can hold on to this.
Yeah, you get the special deal.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like impatiently waiting for your and Emily's bicolor Amazons to produce because I'm like, yeah, I remember I gave you guys that super pastel EMG clown. I think that's worth a couple bicolors.
I'm just saying. I think it is. It's not a bad move.
You know, I'm just saying. You know, who you know that red calico that's coming in. You know, I mean,
hey,
just,
you know, work something out.
You know,
we'll work something out. You know, we'll keep it real.
Yeah, And that's both how we all like end up killing ourselves, just inundating ourselves, trading snakes
I
back
don't
and
need
forth
more
with
snakes,
each other.
but that snake.
But that one, yeah, I have to not look at Morph Market.
That's the
or
toughest
anything.
part of my job right now is that I have to look at Morph Market and King Snake and all those classified sites to like post our stuff. So
Yeah,
like
oh,
I'm
right.
already on there. I might as well look if there's
Yeah.
any scrub pythons for sale right now.
Mhm.
I don't need to look at that. I mean, I just that gets me into trouble because then I'm
Yep.
looking at now I'm looking at like, oh man, Okatee corn snakes. I want to get one so I
Yeah.
can use it for educational programs. And I just saw that I think it's Suncoast Serpents just hatched out some like
Some mint ones.
incredible baby Okatees, and I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, so are you guys selling those in the future? Are you holding back that whole clutch? Because I'm just saying. I mean, let me know. I just think I like those for education. They just are like such a pretty snake that I love doing educational programs. So I think that I need to get one of those.
Yeah.
Not a breeding project, just one.
Yeah.
Then maybe a pair.
Maybe,
No, just
you
one.
know,
Just
maybe
one.
a pair,
Just one.
but I mean, they might hook you up. So
Yeah,
who
they
knows?
might. Hey,
Who
no,
knows?
who knows?
Are you really going to be okay with spending X amount on a snake and then having to spend twice that much on the shipping cost? You might as well just throw another snake in there so it evens out.
True.
I'm just saying.
So it's like half and half.
Yeah, I'm just
Not
just,
a bad.
you
Not
know,
a bad idea.
Whatever. But no, I
Make
hear
it
you.
worthwhile.
Exactly. I hear you because I've been looking at like other colubrid projects. That's like the one aspect of my collection now that is lacking is my colubrid department. And I used to be such a colubrid fanatic.
Gee, I
I'm
never
like,
was.
I
never was big in colubrids.
No.
I like tiger rat snakes. I like big ones.
Yeah,
But you can't keep a lot of those.
It's true. It's true. So I'm like, man, I have a way to get my hands on another rack to get a few
Yeah.
colubrid things.
You know, some corn.
Yeah, so maybe a couple corn snakes, a couple Cal Kings, and some Sinaloan milks.
You need to get some of those reverse stripe Cal Kings because those
are
things
pretty freaking
geeked
sweet.
me out when I saw them. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what?
Yep.
King snakes look like that now?
Exactly.
I might need one.
But I'm seriously on the hunt right now for vertebralis Cape Baja
Ooh.
gopher snakes.
Gopher snakes. Pituophis.
Pituophis. Because I have my Depii Johnny, and I love those.
Smoke
They're freaking mint. But the vertebralis I had years ago, and I've been kicking myself ever since when I sold the trio.
Wow.
That I had. And
Rookie move.
I can't find them.
Yep.
I can't find them anywhere, dude. I found a website though where somebody produced. They had albinos.
What?
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can find it.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
meant to
find
take
it.
a picture and send it to you. But I saw that and I was like, they looked interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I was going to rush out and give this guy thousands of dollars for albino.
I wonder if they're pure or if you bred them to like Applegate stuff.
I don't remember. I'll have to try to find the website because
Mm-hmm.
they looked interesting, but I was actually disappointed with how it looked in comparison to what I would have expected. Because you'd think like an amelanistic animal, that red would pop, and that it wasn't the case.
Probably is a cross.
And I was like, that's not so cool. In comparison to the normal looking animals that can be like so freaking vibrantly red. I'm like, ooh. Okay, yeah.
Oh.
So anybody out there in the ether that may know where I can get my hands on some vertebralis, please let me know. But yeah, I need to diversify in that just a little bit. I definitely don't want to go crazy, because I mean, colubrids are certainly like a great bread and butter thing from the sales standpoint, just because colubrids are generally easy to manage, and they tend to sell pretty well. But I also know they can lay a shit ton of eggs, and you can very
And
quickly
double
get
clutch
inundated and
and
double clutching and stuff. And I don't want to go down that road at all, because I don't really want to do a bunch of holdback stuff. I'm like, I just know what I like and want to work with what I like for that, and that's it. So like generally no more than a trio of any given project, just to be like, yep, cool, I made some of those. I might want to hold a couple back for a year and see them with some size, but then that's about it. They're pretty much out the door after that.
I want to correct myself. It was
Yes.
Sunshine Serpents that had those corn snakes.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
So that's a whole 10 corn snakes you're getting.
No, what?
Right.
No, they actually did message me back, and they're like, "How many do you want?" And I'm like,
2.
How many you got? 2. I
Two.
want 2.
Tell him 2.
2.
He's
Only
telling
2.
him right now. He's
Right
going to
now.
tell him
I'm gonna
2.
tell him
I'm
2.
watching it happen.
Oh, actually, they are not that expensive, so I'm gonna get 2.
Oh, okay. What are they, like $15?
No, not that. But
Oh, okay.
they're worth
All right.
it. They're like
Yeah,
100% worth
yeah.
it. I'm down
Can't
with
beat
that.
a good Okatee
Oh man, they're just so beautiful, and their lines are like orange with like
Yes.
red and big black
The big-
marks on them.
Dude,
Oh,
when you see those, I think it's my buddy Dom has the love line stuff
Yes.
with those big
Yeah.
black
Mm.
edges. Oh,
I
man,
love that.
Those are mint.
Mhm.
Those are absolutely mint. But yeah, I think I got a lot of shit. I'm just
says that's the
Ugh.
that's the reality for reptile keepers.
It's true, dude.
They go from it's either they have one snake that they love and it's their whole life, and
Mhm.
that's
That's it.
their pal.
Yep.
Or they've got 47 snakes. They're like, yeah, I got some snakes. I got a few. No
Yeah,
big deal.
47 or 100.
Or
120.
Not a big deal. Come on
boy.
now.
Yeah. That's whatever. This sad reality of looking at my hatchling rack right now.
Yes.
That is still quite full, and
Ooh.
realizing that those are all holdbacks.
Yep.
And they're all
That's
animals
what
that
I'm
raising.
scarily
I'm
looking
like,
at right now.
I'm like, oh, I can't sell that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a little rough. But that's why we're in this, because we are freaking addicted,
Yes.
and at least it's not meth.
True.
So
True.
Oh,
Could be
man.
worse.
It's true. Is there a species or a morph of anything that you are interested in or would consider getting at some point besides Okatee corns?
I'm very blessed because I've gotten to work with almost everything that I've set out to want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
My dream animal is still Bell's phase lace monitor. Once I've got space and a house and everything set up, I want to do a little room for a Bell's phase lace monitor.
That would be awesome.
But that's like my one day. That's my one day animal. If you see me with a Bell's phase lace monitor, I'm living the life because I've got everything
Living
else.
your best life.
I've had pretty much unless I can get venomous. If I can get venomous, then that opens a whole nother can of worms that I can't do right now. But as far as stuff that I could theoretically get right now,
Mm-hmm.
Bell's phase lace monitor, 100%.
There you go.
I got my scrub pythons. If I could get my scrub pythons to breed, that's it. But I mean, it's like I got almost everything I want. Like I don't know, or I've had it in the past. If I don't have it right now, I've had it in the past, and most everything that I set out like to work with, I've done it, and that's something I'm really proud of. I don't know.
That's cool. I can't relate.
Bell's phase lace monitor. What about you? What's the next flame that's gonna ignite your candle?
I don't know, dude, because I like a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I am very much like Kevin in that instance where, like, if it catches my interest and it locks me in, like, I'll be like, yeah, I gotta get it. I gotta get it. That was how I was with Chrysopelia. When I had Chrysopelia, I was like, those things are amazing. And then, like, a month later, I had a pair and was like, yep, they're freaking great.
They're
dude.
amazing. Even better in person.
Yeah, but I mean, like, dude, the beak snakes were another thing. I'm like, oh, cool. I can grab 1 or 2. Now I have 5.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh.
I lied.
Okay.
Malukan scrubs. I don't have
scrubs.
those. And
Okay,
I haven't
there
had
you
a
go.
chance to work with those. I
Yep.
want that. That's what I want.
Man, son of a bitch.
What's the thing?
I don't know, dude. Okay, so the next thing I need to get
For
are
your
these
projects?
vertebralis.
Okay.
They are
Yes.
the vertebralis.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes I see shit that just catches my eye, like Post Lenotus
Yes.
are pretty freaking amazing.
Oh my God. Yes.
And yeah, when I saw a Redneck's adult, I was like,
those things will give you
oh,
shivers, man. Those
things
and
are
every
cool.
single one's different. Oh, they're
Yep.
so cool.
King rats.
Oh, yeah.
King rats are
Carinata,
interesting. Yep. I don't know if I'd want to breed them, but I could own one because I think that's just a really interesting
Yes.
species. It's a big colubrid that you don't see super often, but they're starting to become a little more popular. I've got Kev's Madagascan giant hognose here.
Oh.
That thing is freaking
They're so
amazing.
Cool. They're so cool.
I don't know, dude. I just like too much shit. That's my downfall.
Yeah.
Is like I'm
picky as shit. So
I'm not, man. If it well, no, I shouldn't say that because I'm very picky when I have a species that I like. I'm really particular
want to get
about
the right animal,
Exactly.
the key animal.
Exactly. But I could never have 2 or 3 species and be like, yep, I'm good. I'm fine with this.
If it came down to it and they're like, you can only keep 2 or 3 species, I'd keep Borneos, I'd keep scrub pythons, and probably nothing else. I would just have nice big enclosures for my scrub pythons. I'd have my racks for my Borneos, and I'd be happy.
Yeah. I probably would be in the same place. I'd probably do my carpets, Borneos, and Bloods.
Mm-hmm.
Those would probably be my top 3. As much as I love my retics and stuff, I'm like,
too much space.
That's a lot of space.
Yeah.
That's a lot of space. But yeah, dude, I just like too much shit. And I don't even touch lizards anymore.
I would say you didn't even talk about chameleons or
because I will literally
bearded dragons or
So let's talk about my problem for a second. Dude, when I get into a project, I get into
into it.
You know, so like the leopard gecko thing was like, yeah, I'm going to have like a trio. And the next thing I know, I've got 12.
I might like some leopard geckos.
And I'm like, okay.
Bold bandits.
These are cool, but now I have too many. And
then you see a different morph and a different morph.
Yeah, it's really hard, man. It really is. Bearded dragons are the same way. Like, there's some amazing bearded dragons. Like I showed you those insane.
Oh my
red
god,
ones
those red ones! Oh my goodness,
silly,
absurd.
Chameleons are another one, man. Like, I love panther chameleons.
Really?
Absolutely love panther chameleons. I would never want to breed them.
I like the ugly ones. I like ocelots.
They're cool too.
I like those, and I like the oh my god, I can't think of the name of them. It's they look very similar to ocelots.
The
Varicoses. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I love those. Those two right there.
They're pretty sweet.
But the fact that you need a babysitter for them when you go on vacation for a weekend, not happening for me. Not happening. Never again. I did that for like 10 years when I was growing up. Never again.
Nope. Yeah, chameleons are another one. Like, I wouldn't even want to breed them because that level of stress.
Cool. And you know what, man? That something that I've noticed recently with a lot of people in the reptile community, that for like the last 10 years, everyone who's gotten into reptiles, or the vast majority of the people who got into reptiles, are chasing that I need to breed it. I need to breed it. Yeah. I got it to breed it. And then now I'm starting to see more people who are like, I just got this thing because I freaking like it. It's not as many people, but there's still a good chunk of people who are like, I just like this animal and I want to keep it and keep it well. And I love that because after now breeding and being, a professional breeder, like that's my job where I'm breeding things and raising things and selling things and blah, 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 blah. For me, for my personal animals, I don't really like, this year is going to like hurt me because I produced a lot of snakes this year on my personal end. Yeah. But that's not where my direction is. Like my scrub pythons, if they never breed for me, I'm cool with it. Yeah. I'm totally cool with it. They can take up all the space in my reptile room and just be cool scrub pythons, and that will not hurt my feelings in any way. I don't want to recoup any money from them. I don't look at them as an investment. I just look at them as something that I enjoy. And if I never make a cent off of them, I'm cool with that. Yeah. And I think that there's more people now who are getting into it and are looking at these animals like that. And I think that's really cool.
I agree.
Because when you can look at that snake and just say, you know what, I appreciate that animal for what it is. I have like so much respect for you. So much respect for that. You don't have to breed it, You don't. And it's stressful. The people who get into breeding or just get into reptiles and then want to hop right into breeding, they don't know or fully grasp the reality that breeding is like one of the worst things or like the toughest things that you can put your animals through. It's a huge amount of stress on them. There's so many complications that can go wrong. You can end up with the animal getting hurt. You can end up with the animal getting sick. And it's just like, if you love that animal, breeding is one of the most stressful things you can do. Like Janet, I'm not crazy about breeding her, but I had so many people asking me, and I had picked up a male, and breeding her has been the most stressful thing for me, just like constantly checking on her, seeing what Jeremy sees me every day, walking into her room, open up her enclosure and going, I don't know what she's doing today. She's looking like she's not happy right now. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she's not happy right now.
Yeah.
I'm just like stressed out about it. But like the fact that more people are looking at, I want a chameleon, not to breed it, but I just like
I
the
keep
chameleon.
it.
I like it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love seeing that. As
Yeah,
an
most
educator, I
definitely.
love that.
No, I think that's a really important thing because especially with like social media and where social media has taken us, like the glorification goes to the breeders.
Yes.
It's all about creating the next cool looking ball python
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And that's cool. It serves its purpose. But there's not too many people that are like, I mean, if you're trying to get rich off YouTube, like just having a couple cool pets is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to make animal content. But
Unless it's king cobras.
unless it's king cobras.
Ask Donnie, he'll tell you.
That is true. But to just be able to be like, yeah, I have this because I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, for me, like, yeah, I'm breeding, but again, like if I couldn't breed anything that I have anymore, I wouldn't be mad
Mm-hmm.
at all because I literally love all of these different species. So I would be like, I'd be sad because I couldn't recoup the
Some of
money
the
I'm
money that you
going into
invested into it.
feeding.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, like, if I really want something, I'm going to spend the money for it.
Yeah.
Whether it's $100 or a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people tell me that they think I'm crazy because of that. But
I
I'm
can't
like,
tell you how many people have like messaged me and asked me how much I spent on something, and they're like, "Well, you overpaid for that," and I'm like, "No, I paid what I think it's worth." Like
Right.
Halloween Amazon tree boas, there's a lot of people who like one of the Halloweens that I had purchased. I got it for like $150 and then plus shipping and everything. And people were like, "That's terrible. That person ripped you off. It's they're a $40 snake." And I'm like, no, one, this animal's captive bred, and two, the person who produced it put a lot of work into it, and I think it's worth that. If you don't think it's worth that, that's cool, but I value this animal's life. I value that this is what this person think this animal's worth, and I'm going to pay for that. If you
Right.
don't think that, don't buy it. But don't tell me that I'm paying too much for this snake that I value.
Right.
Because like if I sell any of my Borneos this year, they're not going to be a $50 snake. I want the person who buys that snake to respect that animal and have that, it's not a impulse buy for them. It's not something that they were like, that kind of looks cool, I'll get it. I want them to think about that snake, what it encompasses, and think about it before they actually make that purchase, because
Yeah.
it's so much more important to put that thought into it than just to get it. I think a lot of animals don't get the respect they're due because they're I'm using air quotes right now, inexpensive animal or cheap animal. Tokay geckos are one of those where it's like people don't respect tokays like they should because they're a $20. If you get a wild caught one, they're like $20, and people don't respect that. Golden geckos, Chinese water dragons, dude. Chinese water dragons are so
Yes.
freaking cool. They're smart. They get good size. They're like amazing animals. But because they're a $30 lizard or a $40 lizard, people don't respect them like they should. And it's like, it's so frustrating because I've seen people who get a water dragon and they deck out its enclosure. They give it a 5 foot by 4 foot by 5 foot enclosure, and the thing's got branches and a pond and all this stuff. And I'm like, yes, that's what it's about. That person went and bought that $40 lizard and then put it in a $1,200 setup because they care about that animal.
Exactly.
And that to me is like so much better. And I think that there's this shift that's happening right now, but there's still some people who are just like, you paid too much for that. You got overcharged for it. And it's like, if I think that it's worth that, I didn't get overcharged. I don't care what you think. I paid what I think is fair.
Let's go back to the $100,000 banana ball python days.
Yeah, seriously.
You talk about overcharged for that $100 snake right now? Yeah. Oh boy.
But at the time, it was worth that money. Like,
right, exactly.
It's worth what you think it's worth.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
So,
well, dude,
I think we're running over time right now.
We are running a little over time.
Just a little.
Just a little. Just by 9 minutes.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
That's
dude.
fine.
Episode number 5.
Number 5 in the books.
In the books.
So wait, if people want to find you, Jeremy, where are they going to find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Brassman Reptiles, and on Twitter at BrassmanRep. What about you?
And for me, if you want to see what I'm doing, you can find me on Instagram at RobIsCreepingItReal, and on Twitter at RobIsCreeping.
Because it can't be real.
Can't be real if it's on Twitter. No big deal. And don't find me on Facebook.
Don't do it.
Don't
You'll
do
be
it.
in purgatory.
For the rest of your life.
All right, people.
Take care.
Until next time.